Babe, come on. Let's get it over with.
I think she peed.
Let's just start it with quick and then...
Can you hold it for a second?
Come here, baby girl. Yeah. Oh, dang. We look crazy. Okay, hold on.
Let's go.
Welcome back. Just kidding. It's not that bad.
Nah, not really. Not really.
It is.
That bad.
It is pretty bad. But it's not that bad.
Nah.
Like, it's just bad, but not like bad.
Bad.
Does it make sense?
Tired.
We're very tired.
Very tired. But anyway, welcome to our birth story.
Let's start from the beginning, shall we? So, once upon a time, last Friday, January 15th, 2021.
Yes.
It was 2:30 in the morning where I woke up with a feeling that felt like a balloon popped inside of me. And I woke up and I sat up and I was like, that's weird. It's like, maybe I just have to go to the bathroom. So I'm like going out of bed, like waddling over, and I feel something like dribbling. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. Like, do I pee myself right now? I'm like, really? And I pull my pants down, and in that moment, it just like comes out of me, and I couldn't stop it. And I'm like, my water broke. I'm like, babe, my water just broke. And he was like, what? Are you sure you're not peeing yourself?
I never jumped up so fast in my life.
He was in the bathroom within like 0.2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, he was so fast.
Like, normally, if I try to wake up that early, 2:30 in the morning, even 5:30, 6 in the morning, it is a struggle.
Yeah.
But the minute she told me her water broke, I was about that month. Like, yo.
He was ready.
Let's go. And
He
she
was
in there.
ready.
She in there doing her makeup.
He packed the car. He got everything together.
Yeah.
I did my makeup.
I got everything together.
Yeah.
All she had to do was walk out.
He was great. He was really great, honestly.
Oh, man.
So then it took about an hour for everything. Because I heard, you don't have to rush right away and like, it's fine. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get ready. And then once I'm ready, then we're just gonna go. So we got to the hospital like, what, 3:30-ish?
Yeah, like 3:30 in the morning.
So we wanted to stop for food originally because I was like, you know what, I won't be able to eat once we get to the hospital because everybody tells you these stories, you can't eat them anymore, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, let's stop at McDonald's or something, whatever we can, just for me to eat. In the car, the new car, another gush came out. 2, 3 of them.
Messed up the leather seats.
This is crazy. It just came out of me. I'm like, babe, I am sitting in water. And it was bad. Like, bad. Yeah, you think that's funny, huh? Like, it was so bad. It was wet. And so we got out the car, and he started laughing. He's like, your whole butt is wet.
Her whole butt was showing through her gray pants.
So we walk into the hospital, and they're like, they sit up front there, and they ask you, what you're here for. And you couldn't see that my water broke up front. And he was like, yeah, her water just broke, and they called it in. And the guy comes out, and he's like, are you sure your water broke? And I turn around, he's like, your water broke. I'm like, yep,
Like, you need
sure
proof?
did.
You need proof?
So then they put me into I was about to say stroller. What is it called?
Wheelchair.
A wheelchair. They put me in that.
Wheeled her right in.
And wheeled me in, and then again at the delivery and labor's, department there, they were like, are you sure your water broke? And then I get up out of the wheelchair, and he's like, okay, yeah, your water broke. He's like, I'm just asking because so many women come in here thinking their water broke, but they just peed themselves. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought originally, but
Yeah.
it was not that.
When we got into the room, you know, they strip, you know, whoever's been through this process before knows what goes on in the process. You know, they get you in the gown, they want to check you out, all the nurses come in, they do all of that good stuff.
Introduce themselves.
They introduce themselves, tell you who's going to be here, who's next shift, who's your doctor, and everything. Yeah. And that's the crazy part. So you guys remember the doctor that was telling her all the wild stuff in the doctor's office, right? From our TikTok videos and our Instagram video.
Yeah.
The doctor that gave her a hard time about, you know, the epidural and doing natural birth. Well, guess what? He was the doctor on call that night.
Lucky me.
Great.
And they told me that, and I was like, oh.
She just looked at me like, I was just like.
And then the nurse was like, you like him? And I'm like, you know, I don't want to say anything bad. I'm like, I don't know how cool they are. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm like, it's okay.
Listen, you got my wife and baby's lives in your hands,
right?
So we need you to be.
I'm like, whatever it is, like, just get her here. I don't care.
Right.
And that point, I really didn't care, honestly. Like,
yeah.
I was like, yeah, it sucks, but like, I didn't really care. Right. Because at the end, I just wanted her to be good. So
we so we go in there, and you know, like most new parents, we're new to this. We don't know a lot of things that's going on. We don't know a lot, so we're learning as we go day by day. But we went in there with a birth plan, knowing what we want to do, what she wants to do. Actually, not we, but she wants to do because it's her body, obviously. The moment I pull the birth plan out, I give it to the nurse, he goes, yeah, the birth plan, he said, what exactly did he say? He said, that's bad luck. That's bad luck. That's going to jinx everything. Everything that you wrote down on that birth plan
won't happen. And I was like, don't say that. It will be your fault.
Yeah, he was just like...
He was being funny, you know. He's like, it's just superstition, you know.
Yeah,
like,
just
it's
a superstitious thing.
It's usually, that's what they say also, like, when nurses, he then said, when nurses, you know, give birth, then it just never goes the way.
It was planned.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so we were like, oh, yeah, haha, laughing it off, you know. The nurses at the labor and delivery... Shout out to you guys, because they were definitely the most perfect people out there. Like, they took really good care of us. Mm-hmm. They were really nice. They were like really reassuring. They answered all the questions we had. Yeah. We were both really nervous. Like, not only me, it's also nerve-wracking for him, not knowing, you know, what's going on. And so they were really, really great. They took really good care of us. And, yeah.
So, shout out to the nurses at St. Pete General Hospital.
At the labor and delivery.
Yes, and the one nurse that recognized us from YouTube videos.
What was her name?
Shout out to you, too.
I forgot.
She was like, I know you guys.
Right? She's like, that's a good name. She can pronounce it. And I was like, okay. And I, like, it didn't click. And then she was like, I know you guys from TikTok. I'm like, oh. I'm like, now I understand why you said that. It didn't make sense at first, but yeah.
Yeah, shout out to her recognizing us. Even with the mask on, you're going to see half our face, but she still recognized us.
So they were all great. Loved them all. So labor was, like, in the beginning, my contractions didn't start until, like, about, I would say 5:36. But, like, it was, like, really slowly. Like, it wasn't, like, really bad or whatever. Around 9, they got stronger, where I was like, oh, yeah, I feel every single one. Mm-hmm. I just breezed through it. It's fine. Like, it hurt, but it wasn't, like really, like, I'm about to pass out kind of hurt. I for my whole life already, I had really bad cramping, like, every time when I had my period. So I guess, and I'm not really, like, my pain level is, like, really high. So it was fine. Around 11 o'clock, I was still not open, and they said, you know what, we're going to induce you to make it go faster because, you know, my water broke, so, you know, the immune fluid and stuff like that, it's getting low. So I was like, okay, fine, induce me. 11:30, I got induced. Those contractions
went from a 1, 2, 3 to a
12. Like, oh my God, those contractions were awful. Like, I don't even have words for the feeling that I felt. And I toughed it out for like 3 hours almost, 3.5 hours, where like they came like every 2 minutes, every minute, and I had like 30-second window in between. They were like, "Oh yeah, you're getting close," and I'm like, "Okay," like, whew, this is exhausting. Like, and I didn't have enough time in between each contractions anymore to like kind of calm down. Like he could tell, like on that screen, he could see that they, you know, when they stopped, so he counted down, so it helped me like focus on, okay, it's only 5 more seconds, 4 more seconds, 3 more seconds. So it was great. But the seconds in between each contraction were like shorter and shorter, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then they checked me at 2 and they said, yeah, you're still not open. And I'm like, still not? Like, and I, at that point I knew if I continue breathing through these contractions, I won't have the energy to actually push her out. So that's when I said, you know what, give me the epidural. Yes, I took the epidural. But you know what? I don't care. Like, I never said that I definitely won't take it. I tried and I did everything I could. And I'm really proud of myself for toughing it out for so long.
For that long.
Yeah, like, it was tough. But I took the epidural. With the epidural itself, it was really uncomfortable getting it. You feel it not where they put it in, like they put it into the middle of your bag, but you feel it like somewhere up in your shoulder, like somewhere down. Like it was a weird feeling. But once the epidural was in, I felt amazing. I had no pain. Like they were like, he was like, "Did you feel this contraction?" Because he can see it, and I'm like, "Nope, nope, it's great. My legs are numb. I don't feel anything." They would switch my sides every I think 30 minutes or something. And my legs were just like...
Some heavy ass legs too. Try getting them legs open. I'm like... trying to pick her legs up. So she... I give her credit. She toughed it out. Try to not... try to do it the natural way. But, it is what it is. I told her, you don't got nothing to prove to anybody.
Of course
whatever.
I cried. But I was
she
more...
was upset. But it was... more of upset because she wanted to do it naturally. Yeah. So it wasn't...
Which every birth is natural to say that. But like naturally as in, no meds.
No medication. Exactly. So.
But it's okay, it's still got this out of it, so who cares? Exactly. After the epidural, the contractions stopped. Like not that completely, but they weren't as frequent anymore. So before that, as I said, they were like every 2 minutes, every minute with like 30 seconds in between. They're like, yeah, you close. And then they check me and like, yeah, you're still only a centimeter open. And then at 6, like from 2 to 6, I only opened another centimeter. So that wasn't processing at all. No. And then they were like, yeah, well, so far it's all good. Because a new C-section for me was a no. And like, I want to, vaginal birth, whatever. Excuse me. At 6, they checked me and they were like, yeah, it's just a centimeter. And I was like, whew, well, then, okay. How much longer? By that time, we were in labor for 16 hours.
Yeah, it was tough.
Exhausting. I felt bad for him.
Felt bad for me.
That was a funny thing, okay? This is a funny thing. I'm over there in labor, right?
I'm worried about me.
But I'm seeing him, like a lot of women were like, my husband passed out in a chair, sleeping his ass off, and I'm looking over and I see how uncomfortable he is, and I'm thinking like, I feel so bad for him. Not that my bed wasn't really comfortable either, but like, I was okay, and I'm like, damn, like he has to wait it all out, like, I don't know, it's just me, worrying about somebody else than myself, I guess.
Yeah, I was cool. They was bringing food.
Yeah, he was eating good. Like I'm sitting there with my
food.
I'm sitting there.
5-star restaurant food and nothing like that, but
I have my ice chips. Yeah, and anytime they would give me Jello or like those ice, like it's like popsicles in a cup, I would throw it up. Yeah. I could not take it for. So. I would throw it up every single time, and it was exhausting. Like, like anytime I had to throw up, it was exhausting.
Yeah. So we're sitting there, and we look at the.
Oh, I got the shivers first.
You got the shivers. Yeah, she got cold first.
I got really cold, and I was shivering.
Like, I'm cold, and I'm like, it's not cold in here.
Yeah, and then they come the nurses. they checked my temperature first. They're like, you don't have any like fever or anything. Like, you're fine. Like, it might be that labor is close. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's when at 6 they checked me again, and they noticed like, yeah, you're not opening.
Still not. So
Shit went south.
yeah, so they see that. Well, we noticed.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the heart monitor because they got it all strapped up, and I see the baby's heart rate up, and I'm like, damn, why is it up to like 190? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it was first one like 170, 175, and like went up and up.
And I'm trying to calm her down because she's, every time it goes too fast or goes too slow, she's getting up, looking at the monitor, like.
I start worrying.
I'm like, just relax, because if you start worrying and getting nervous and breathing crazy, then you're putting more stress on the baby and things like that. So I call the nurse in, they come in, they look at it, they're like, yeah, it's kind of high. Then they go back out, and then they come back in, and they're like, yeah, the baby's heart rate's pretty high, so it's at 190. It shouldn't be that high. It should be about 150, 160.
Yeah, they're like, let's try to put it down. They check my temperature again, and they see my temperature is rising, like really high. And I've noticed that I'm not feeling well anymore. I started feeling dizzy. I felt like kind of like sick, and like
they give you a Tylenol.
Yeah, I didn't feel well anymore. And he asked me, like, I saw him getting nervous too, and he's like, how are you feeling? I'm like, okay, I'm feeling okay. I try to, because I'm a very nerve-wracked person when I'm in stress. So I try not even to stress out myself. So I was like, no, I'm fine, you know, like everything is good. Because I knew, like, if I get more hyped up, then it's worse for her. And so they tried, it was like Tylenol and like everything else, and nothing helped at all. Like, it got worse.
So the nurse...
Yeah, the nurse said we're gonna call in the doctor now.
See what they want to do.
Yeah, see what they want to do. The doctor who was on call, the one I didn't want originally, was in a different surgery.
He was doing surgery on somebody else.
Yeah, so they are saying, okay, we're calling in the next available doctor on call. She came in, and that was my worst nightmare. She comes in, she's like, you ready to save yours lives? Like, y'all's life? Me and the babies.
Yeah, she told, because she was sitting at dinner with her family, and she went and told her daughter, like, you know,
I gotta go save a baby's life.
I gotta go save a baby's life. That's when I was like,
that it was like a slap in the face when she said that, because
like
we knew it was serious,
but nobody was saying.
But nobody was really honest, because they tried to keep us calm. You know, like I understand that and I appreciate that, but the way. I wish she wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Because there was a slap in the face where I was like, oh my God, what? And then she's like, we have to act quick now. So they asked me all these questions. I have to fill out more paperwork while I'm laying there, like wondering what's going on now. I didn't even hear anything they said. Honestly, when they went through the paperwork and they ask you these things like, are we allowed to give you a blood transfusion in case you're dying? Like,
bleed out.
Yeah, like things like that. And I didn't recognize any of the words. It was like, and I just signed the papers and I was like, yep, whatever. I don't care. Yep, do whatever you need to do for her to be safe. That was my only concern. And I looked over to him and I was like, that sucks. That really sucks. Sorry. Because you're scared and you don't know what's going on. This is all raw and real. So it was really hard. And then they said, okay, you have to change. He had to put on like an astronaut outfit.
I had to put a whole jumpsuit on.
Yeah, I had to take all my jewelry out. And they said, okay, we push you in. We're going to give you whatever more pain meds or whatever. I don't know what they said. I really don't understand what they said. And Jimmy will come in then. In comes the doctor that was on call first. The one I didn't want at first.
Yeah, he finally finished up his surgery and came in just in time.
Just in time.
You should have seen him too when he came in. Like, he changed up real quick. And I seen his shirt in the back. He was sweating. I'm like, oh God.
He must have been running.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm ready, man. Let me go. One surgery to the next. He's just trying to get these checks and just trying to get this money.
So,
sent the other doctor home.
Right. He then comes in and he's like, you ready to have the baby? And I was like, yep. And at that moment, I felt so at peace seeing him. I don't know why. I don't know. I felt like I'm in good hands with him, honestly. Like, I didn't feel anything about him anymore. And that was the weirdest part. Maybe because I was drugged up. I don't know. But I felt so at peace. And then he was like, do you feel this? Do you feel that? I'm like, nope, I'm good. And then Jeremy comes in. No, I asked for Jeremy like 3 times. I'm like, where's Jeremy? Why is Jeremy not here? It felt like forever for him to come in. It was probably just a few minutes.
About 10 minutes.
Yeah, but
15.
But it felt like forever. I was like, this is crazy. I felt them already starting, and I was like, Jeremy's still not here. Why is he still not here? And then he came in, and I just saw him. I was like... Oh.
Came in like Superman, like I was doing the surgery. Here to save the day, she died. Just a little bundle of joy.
He's like, here she comes. And then I feel them pulling something out of me, but I couldn't tell, what it was. And I don't hear a cry. And I'm like praying in my mind the whole time. I'm like, please let her be okay. Please let her be okay. Please let her be okay. And I'm praying in my head. And then in that moment, they showed me to her and she starts crying. And I was like, oh my God, she's beautiful. And
she was kind of purple.
Yeah, but I didn't, like, the thing is, what I've
like
seen, I didn't see, like, I just saw baby, and I heard crying, and that was for me the most beautiful sound I ever had in my entire life. So he cut the umbilical cord, is that right?
Yeah.
Got it now.
Umbilical cord.
So he cut it, even though he said he wouldn't cut it. When I asked him once, he said he doesn't want to cut it because it's nasty. And he did, and I was so proud of him. And then they did the checkups and whatnot, and then, yeah, what was then?
That was pretty much...
That was pretty much it. And then he went to the nursery with her and the nurses to do, more checkups and see if everything is all right with her while they closed me up. And I remember I asked the weirdest questions. I'm like, am I still open? And they're like, no, they're closing you up. I'm like, I'm like, did ever anybody fall from the table? And they're like, no, it didn't. I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, is that all my blood? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, did I lose a lot of blood? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, so I'm still alive, right? And they're like, yeah, you're good. And I was like, can I see the placenta? And they're like, sure. So they showed it to me and like the sack and stuff like that. And I remember looking at it, I'm like, that looks so cool. And thinking back at it, I'm thinking like, you weirdo. Why would you ask all these weird ass questions? But I was drugged up. I didn't care. She was born at 8:43 and I didn't see her or him until 11 o'clock. It was the longest time for me because she had to do all the checkups and they wouldn't tell me what's going on. They're like, yeah, we ask, for whatever, and then we come back to you. I was like, okay. And nothing happened. Like, it just felt like forever. They're like, no, she's fine, he's fine, he's with her. And, I'm like, I want to see both of them. Like, are they okay? And then at 11, finally, I don't even know if you came in or...
I came in first.
Oh, yeah, he came in first, and he's like, yeah, she's fine, I could tell how tired he was. Like, we were up by that time, I don't know, 18 hours. So it was exhausting for both of us. Whoever thinks birth is just exhausting for the mother, it's just as exhausting for the dad. I mean, yeah, he's not in pain, but he's just as nervous and he's just as, going through all these emotions the same way. I don't even know, like, I know he was nervous. What did you feel?
I was nervous, but I couldn't let you know that I was nervous. So I couldn't let her know that I was nervous because if I was nervous, then she'd get nervous and then the baby gets, heart rate goes up even more.
Yeah.
And we just didn't need that. But she said that she could tell that I was nervous.
Yeah, I could tell. Which usually I can't. Like, he is like my rock. So whenever, not only during delivery now, but it would, like, anytime throughout our whole relationship and marriage, he is like the calm side, like yin and yang, you know, like I'm really like out there and like going crazy and thinking the worst scenarios, and he's more like the calm kind of putting me down, like it's gonna be okay. But when I've seen him nervous, I had to calm down myself, because even though he didn't show me, I saw it in his face. And that was like, for me, like, okay, it's serious, but we gotta keep calm. It's fine. Like, it's not that bad.
But,
yeah.
But,
So that was the delivery. And she is a perfect little angel now. Then we went home. And when we got home, I realized what happened throughout the last 4 days that we were in there. It was traumatic, I'm not gonna lie. It was nothing I ever imagined. It was nothing I ever wanted to happen. It was nothing that I ever planned to happen. But
it happened.
It happened, and it's okay that it happened. And I had to tell myself that it's okay. I think I felt like after a day or two while we were still in the hospital, I felt like a failure, and that's okay. So for any mama who feels that way, I just want you to know it's okay. Like, that's life. That's all what life is about. It's about going through shitty areas and going through them and learning from them, and not to blame yourself, because there's nothing I could have done in that moment. There was nothing that I did that made it happen. Like, it's just life, and it's okay. And the outcome at the end was perfect. So we're happy about that, and we're really, really blessed. And we had great support system in the hospital. So I'm really thankful for all the nurses in there and all the doctors, even the one I didn't want. I really do like him now, because at the end, he was the one who saved our lives. So I'm really happy and grateful for that.
Yes.
So
all we can be is happy and grateful that everyone is nice and healthy, alive.
Right.
Thank you again for joining us on our YouTube channel.
This was our raw and real experience with birth, and we just wanted to share that little moment with you guys. So thank you for staying here and seeing this little angel grow up now.
Yes. So stay tuned, because we got a lot more videos. It's gonna get interesting with this one here.
Yeah.
Should be good. So
thank you again
Thank
for
you,
all the
guys.
support, and we love y'all. Thank you.
Like, share, follow, subscribe.